FM 94, The Dark. It is that time again. It's time to get to know a band we play here on The Dark. And tonight, I don't have one, but I have two members from the band Farewell to Fear. I have Mike, the lead singer, and I got Mojo. He's the eye candy and the guitarist, too. How you guys doing, by the way?
Hey, brother. How are you?
I'm doing awesome.
Great.
I'm doing awesome. Hey, it's great to have both you guys on board and to find out more about the band Farewell to Fear. And in fact, we back in the day, and this is probably, 5 years ago or whatever, we were spinning your remake, your cover of Diamonds by Rihanna, which kind of, I think, maybe started the trend to get you guys out there a little bit more on the radio scene. Is that kind of what happened? Is that how it all started, guys? Give us the story.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting because it opened the door for us to do what we're doing now. But it didn't start out that way. Actually, it was the 13th song on the album that we were at the 11th hour trying to figure out should we write another song or just throw something extra on there. And turns out that at the time, Diamonds by Rihanna I don't know. We looked at YouTube and there was over 50 million views. And we said, well, this might not be a bad idea, and have some fun with it and just see where it goes. And lo and behold, it's the one thing that really kind of grew legs and took off, which was amazing. And then Stern, it ended up in Howard Stern's hands somehow, and then it really took off. So it was a blessing in disguise.
It's because it was the 13th track. You know that, right? Lucky 13. You never thought of that, did you? I'm sure you have, right?
Yes, actually, that was the plan. That was exactly the plan. We put it on number 13, knowing that people would say, "Yes, this is the track that's going to go big for you guys."
All right, let's talk about the band. I guess before all that happened, how did you guys get together? How did Mojo? How did Mike? How did the rest of the members and Farewell to Fear all come about? Well, how did this project all start, guys?
Well, I think first, and Tony, jump in whenever you want. I think we were all mutual friends. Tony and I go back some time, and we had some business ventures that we've had together, and timing were right in our lives to pursue our passion of writing music and whatnot. And after taking a little bit of a break, and through mutual friends, we met up with the rest of the guys in the band, and they felt that where we were going and the concept and the idea behind Farewell to Fear was one that was worthwhile, and here we are today.
Very cool.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
It's crazy because we have we're all in different parts of the country, which is kind of a really weird thing for a band. But Mike's in Jacksonville, I'm in Nebraska. Sorry about that. And the other guys are a bassist and a drummer. They're down in New Orleans, so it's kind of really interesting dynamic when we get together and get to do what we love to do.
Let's talk about that. I mean, you mentioned you're in a whole different area, and I've had some other bands that are kind of in this similar situation where they're, got 2 or 3 different members spread across the U.S. of A., or for that matter, maybe even overseas too. How do you guys, collaborate, get yourselves together, and make good music like you do?
But it has to be on purpose. It certainly doesn't happen because we all live down the street and we just pick up the phone and say, "You want to jam?"
Right. Yeah, I mean that's
the old days.
That's the crazy thing about nowadays. I just and I guess I'm showing my age, but that's the way it used to be. You got some friends together. You were in somebody's garage that your parents didn't know about, or they said, whatever, just go out there and don't bug me. And next thing you know is you're making a garage band, and then you're playing at your high school, whatever, and then whatever is happening, And nowadays you're finding all your members on Craigslist and all this other stuff. What's going on?
Yeah, times sure have changed, haven't they? Sounds like you grew up in my house.
Well, it's crazy because obviously technology's come so far, right? I mean, everything from the way you do studio work to, people come to the table and they've already got stuff that they've already programmed or something that's on a zip drive.
Right.
With us, we have a lot of communication. Like when this new EP came out, Legacy that we just launched. It's one of those things that we all got online and we all started talking about what the feel we wanted, the kind of the message behind it, and then we just kind of all collaborated on it, and when we got together, it just kind of happened. So technology allows you to do that. You can sit there in somebody's living room on their computer and you go do stuff together, which is really cool.
Yeah, it is cool. That is a cool thing. I mean, nowadays you can do those kind of things that you couldn't do back in the day. But it's for an old guy like me. I'm not that old, but still, it's like it's just amazing how all these bands are getting together and doing things nowadays. And you mentioned your album Legacy or your EP in that. Let's talk about that a little bit. And it kind of leads back into my very first question, which we came out right away on the airwaves and talk about. All right. Found out about you guys about the cover Diamonds and that. Did that help you guys get to where you are, or has that been a hindrance to you because everybody mentions that right away?
I think that for me, my point of view, as long as they've heard of it, it's a good thing. There is something to be said for having the door open, and I think that Diamonds was kind of the door opener for us. Although it doesn't depict who we are, and
right.
necessarily depict our interests and our influences and things like that. But it did a lot for us, and it opened the door. So I think it was a very positive thing, and I think it happened just at the right time, so we could put out Legacy, which is definitely more of a depiction of who we are and what we're all about and our influences and things like that. So if and I always tell people, listen, take a listen. If you love it, we want to hear about it. If you don't like it, we want to hear about it. It's either way, it's a good thing for us. Somebody say exposure is a good thing. Whether it's good exposure or bad exposure, it's still exposure.
I agree.
Yeah, I think every band, their whole goal is to have people hear their music, and if there's always a breakout song, if there's a song that people will go, oh yeah, I love those guys because of that song, or I got into those guys because of that song, and then they start to dive into more of the substance of the band, like lyrically who we are and the talent of who we are. Then that's when it's really rewarding for a band, is when that starts to happen, and that's kind of what Diamonds did. It led people to us. And then they discovered us, and then obviously this new EP that's coming out is truly a depiction of who we are. It's more in your face. It's more it's got more meaning, more substance, I believe, than anything else we've done.
Very cool, very cool. We're talking with Mike and Mojo, the band Farewell to Fear. Their latest song, which we're spinning on our airwaves right now, is called Stand Up. I'm assuming that's off the EP Legacy. Let's talk about the writing and of the music. Who does that? Who comes up with this stuff? Where is it a collaboration of all of you?
Yeah. It's basically a collaboration of us. And when we wrote our last album, New Blood, we co-wrote and produced it with Brett Hessla.
Yeah.
From Dark New Day, and we worked out so well. The guy was like the fifth/sixth member of the band, and we had come to grow so close to him. We wanted to write the next album with him, and he was the perfect fit for who we were. He was able to pull out some of the things that that we weren't able to see in ourselves. So it was a perfect match for us. So that collaboration was huge. So it was it was definitely a blessing.
The one thing I will say about Brett is he really seems to gravitate towards young, new bands, doesn't he? He really is trying to help you guys out. Do you agree with that?
I totally. He's one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. He's got a heart of gold. I mean, and he's a guy super talented. And you're right. I mean, because he's been around, for a lot of years, and he knows the industry, and he knows that, sometimes it's unfair, and sometimes, you just get dealt the cards, just get dealt. And, when you have somebody like that on your side that's willing to just put his heart and soul into it because he believes in you, that's the gratification. And, there's not a lot of people out there like that anymore.
No, there's not. The other guy that I can think of that's really into that is Clint Lowry. I think he's a guy that puts a lot of those, up-and-coming bands, puts them on his back and says, all right, here's the ropes, guys. I'm going to let you make some mistakes, but I'm going to put you out there and give it all you got. And you need help like that. And that was my next question. With a band like yourself, Farewell to Fear, there's many bands out there. How do you separate yourself, and how do you get known more? And so you get up the ladder, I guess, to that next stage.
Yeah, well, it's important. I mean, it's because it's not easy anymore. Like you said before, back in the day, it was a totally different business altogether. And now, I mean, there's bands coming out of the woodwork that are doing it in their closets for the most part, and you know what, they're putting out great product too, and they do really, really well. So you do have to stand apart, And you know what? Having some, but I think having some stickability, I think, is one of the main things that I think are going to make bands or see the bands of today that are going to be around for years to come are the ones that can stick around the longest. Because it was funny, we were talking the other day. It's like, man, we've been at this since 2010. We're coming up on 8 years with this band, and you know what? There's a lot of bands that come out 2-3 years ago that are amazing, but you know what? You'll never see them anymore, and it's really a shame. So if I give any advice to any any guys out there that are in bands that want to do something, hey, just stay together long enough.
Yeah.
And never quit.
Yeah, that's great advice.
The other piece of that is one of the things that you'll find with our band, and a lot of bands are really good at this, and we're getting better as well, is we're very hands-on with everybody. So, when somebody likes some of the stuff that we do, or, we encourage them to reach out to us because, we want to reach out to them. We want to know what they like, and we want to, acknowledge them when they make comments about our song, whatever the case may be. And the other cool thing about Brett, you guys were talking about Brett, is one of the things that Brett was really good about, and is just a master at, is stretching talent. We all come with a certain, set of skills and things like that. And what Brett's really good at is going, hey, that's great, you guys, but this last thing that we got to do is a real stretch. And in that stretch, we got to grow. And that's another thing, is if you are in this space, you've got to grow. You've got to be willing to stretch and try something new and, discover what's possible. And so that reaching out, connecting will separate you from the others.
Right. And, the one thing, too, you got to knock down doors, and it's not easy. I mean, I work at a commercial radio station here. We're a firm believer of new music, but there's a lot of stations out there that aren't like us, and it makes it difficult, doesn't it?
Right. It sure does. I mean, and, there's a lot of, like I said, commercial and corporate stations that are just they don't quite have the freedom, and I understand. It's just it doesn't make it any easier for guys like us that are out there that desperately want to be heard, and believe that we're at least worthy of being heard. And so you do got to knock down a lot of doors, and you do got to make a lot of friends, and it is about relationships. I mean, but genuine relationships. So,
right.
Like I'm going back to, doing the right thing, doing it with the right integrity. And, I think that always come back to benefit you in the long run. And like I said, if you're in this business long enough, you realize that the industry is pretty small, and make friends wherever you go. Don't burn any bridges, and continue to keep putting out good products.
Right. Now, back in my day, we didn't have this thing called the internet, and the social media stuff. How do you guys manage this stuff? Because us old codgers, we wouldn't know what the hell to do with it.
We got to learn fast, don't we, Mojo?
Yeah, well, here's how you do it. You have kids that are like 12 and 13 years old that show you exactly how to do it, and then they also tell you that how cool you are or uncool you are based on what you're posting or not posting. So you surround yourself with the young generation. That's how you do it. You learn from them, and hopefully they'll help you become the cool person. Decide, sit you apart from everybody else.
I think you're right on that, because that's what I go. My daughters look at, Dad, Facebook's not cool. Snapchat's the way to go, But, hey, Facebook's cool for us old codgers because, hey, we can find all the information we need and all that kind of stuff. And actually, I think it goes well for bands, or for that matter, musicians, because it gives you a little more freedom and a little more exposure than maybe a Snapchat or Instagram or Twitter or whatever. And I'm assuming you guys use that a lot.
We do. Yeah, we do, and we try to maximize every part of social we can, just because I think it's like you mentioned before. How do you differentiate yourself? Is connection. I mean, I think that I think today more than ever, if the bands aren't connected to their fans, then you're in trouble. Because you got to love on these folks as much as possible, and because they're the reason why you're here. So if you have a wall between you, then it's going to be really, really hard to kind of continue to build that relationship with your fan base. So, and you got to be creative nowadays. So, so we're using every bit of social we can, from YouTube to Instagram to Facebook to Twitter to whatever we possibly can to stay relevant.
Hey, did somebody just Snapchat you there, or did you actually get a whole bunch of new likes on Facebook?
You like that, huh? We're live on social media.
It worked perfect. It worked perfect. Hey, you mentioned, you got to kind of hang out with people to help you out and all that. Let's talk about touring in that. First of all, it's got to be a logistical nightmare for you guys to get all together. But once you get it all together and go out on tour, how does that work out for you guys? And who do you kind of hook up with? And who have you gone out on tour with?
It isn't easy. You're right. You're right, though, that there is a lot of bands out there that are kind of falling in line. That don't live in the same spot, and you do kind of have to get together for rehearsal right before tour begins, and all meet one place and pack up and roll out. So there's definitely some logistics involved and a lot of planning that goes into that. And we've been fortunate over the past couple of years where we've been able to play really some choice shows. Some festival shows, and then pick up with some folks. We went out with Seven Dust for a little while and Pop Evil. And, so having an opportunity to do that. Sorry, guys.
Hey, got another like, it looks like. Another like!
Sorry about that. So it definitely takes a little bit of coordination, but it's definitely well worth it. And we're kind of in the workings right now of trying to put something together to get out now to start supporting Legacy.
Very cool. Very cool. Who? I guess one question I always like to ask with the bands is who would be some of the bands that you'd love to go out on tour with? If you had to put together a band, Farewell to Fear is going to rock out with 3 other bands. What would be an awesome tour for you guys to go out on?
That's a great question. And I know it would be different for every person in the band. If you ask them, they'd have 3 different answers for each person.
Let's get yours, Mike, and then let's get Mojo's too. So, Mike, first about what would you say?
Well, if you were to say of any band out there, who would you go? I mean, there's definitely could be a lot of different bands to choose from. Going back in the day to, if you could get on a 757 with Bruce Dickinson and the crew, that would be fun.
Well, it might make it a little easier for your logistic problem. He could just fly you around, right?
Yeah, no kidding. But when it comes to the style of music and maybe the type of people that you want to go out on the road with,
right?
I can tell you one of the bands it would be Alter Bridge that I enjoy going out with. So that hasn't happened yet, but that would definitely be one of the bands. But there's so many great bands out there doing really well right now. We just came out of Welcome to Rockville this past weekend, and gosh, there's so many great bands out there. Papa Roach did a fantastic job, as always. You got a lot of newer guys coming up. You got Motionless in White just came out, did a fantastic job in this moment. I mean, there's so many great bands out there right now. So, Tony, what would be your choice pick?
I think of 2 right now. I can think of Gemini Syndrome would be big for me. I'm really into them right now.
Yeah.
Breaking Benjamin is kind of a big influence in my life. I'm going to see them next week, and then Rihanna. I'd like to see a duet with Mike and Rihanna on stage.
Wow.
So Rihanna, there we go.
It's here. I'm just going to hit my head a few times. I didn't even ask that question. Did you ever get any feedback from Rihanna on the cover at all?
Third company.
Okay.
Excuse me. That I heard that you know how that is. Hey, Rihanna heard the song and.
I got you. Yeah, so it's like a person told a person told a person told a person told a person kind of thing. Yeah. And
you got it.
I got you.
Okay.
It. Well,
I just like the fact that people, when they heard our version of that song, said, "Wow, I cannot believe that Rihanna actually did a cover of your guys' song." That's how good our version was. So it was kind of a compliment, actually.
The funny thing about that is about a few years ago, there was some kind of a walking thing going on at a school down here in Minnesota, and it was they had a morning. It was a walkathon or something, and they had us come out and play music. And I actually brought Diamonds done by you guys, Farewell to Fear, and everybody was loving it.
Thank you.
They were loving it. And these are 15, 16, 17, 18-year-old kids, and they were like, "Who sings this?" And they knew the song.
Nice.
But it was really cool, the reaction that they got. So there was definitely some traction to it, of course. And it's something that Go ahead. It was something they recognized.
It was organic.
Yeah, I mean,
it was interesting. Actually, when you get a phone, this is the one that'll crack you up. When you get a phone call from a buddy of yours saying, "Listen, I'm walking through Walmart, and they've got your version of Diamonds playing through the store."
Nice.
That one was the first. I don't think I've heard that one before.
That's cool.
So it was definitely getting out there.
That's right. Well, of course, you guys are making your own legacy, no pun intended, but your new album coming out and that. Let's talk about that. What's the legs on this album and that? Talk about that.
Well, this was a perfect follow-up. I mean, it really was. I mean, we had some time off, which was great, and time to reflect a little bit where it is we wanted to go, and it was the perfect follow-up to New Blood because it was all about what we wanted to create, not necessarily what we wanted to write to make sure it was the right thing to write for the right people. So this was all about us. It was there was no holding back. This was definitely a record that we wanted to write for ourselves.
Right.
And that's kind of where it all started.
And the song "Stand Up," which we're currently playing on the airwaves, what's the meaning behind the song? And of course, I know obviously everybody has their own interpretation of meaning, but what did you guys, I guess, originally write with the song intended for?
Go ahead, Mojo.
Yeah, it's a very uplifting song. Obviously, we want you to stand up for what you believe, stand up for what you feel, don't back down. All of our songs are very empowering. If you look at the lyrics, everything that we write about has to do with somebody going through something, experiencing something, having to break through something, or something is weighing on them to break through that. Hence the name "Farewell to Fear." And this song, we wanted to create when Mike and I were talking about a feeling of a song. We wanted to have that song that just got people just out of their seats and saying, I'm going to stand up for this. This is what I believe. I'm not going to back down. And so it's just a really good. It's a very powerful song for people that maybe have been down a path that was very uncomfortable. It'd be their own personal anthem. So I love it. I'm glad you like it too.
Yeah, and I tell you what,
there's a lot of people. There's a lot of people out there that they get themselves into a situation and they've got a lot of outside chatter, people that they've surrounded themselves with that may not have your best interests at heart. And, you got to be careful who you trust from time to time. And sometimes you just got to, let it all out. And this was kind of our, like Tony said, it was kind of our anthem to say, you know what, it's time. Stand up. Let's do something about it.
Love it. And I know it's getting some good traction around here, too. People are liking it, too. And I guess let's ask this next question, the one I always ask, how to find more information about Farewell to Fear. I know you're going to tell me the social media sites. So what are those? Where can they find more information about your band?
There's a lot of them, but here's the big key thing to remember whenever you're Googling or getting on social media. Just remember it's Farewell and the number 2 Fear. Farewell, the number 2 Fear. And if you go to www.farewell2fear.com, you can go see the official website and sign up for our mailing list. We'll go ahead and send you one of our new songs, free download. And you can go visit us on Facebook. Go like us and follow us on Twitter, Instagram. Everything at Farewell to Fear. And we'd be more than happy to connect with as many people as we possibly can. Like I said, you guys are the reason why we do what we do, and we want to connect. So please come visit. And if you can get a chance to check out Legacy, let us know what you think. If you like it as much as we do, I think you're going to be really happy with it. And you can go to Apple Music, you can go to iTunes, you can listen to Spotify, you can go any digital outlets you can find, and you will find Legacy out there.
Awesome.
And also, too, every Sunday at 1:30, I have a pool party at my house in Nebraska, so you guys are always welcome for that. So don't be shy.
What's the address again, Mojo?
The address is.
And we'll be Snapchatting like crazy, so bring it. Let's go.
Remember, everybody, Mojo is the eye candy to the band Farewell to Fear. You got that, right? When are we going to see you guys in Minnesota? Have you been up here before?
No, we haven't been to Minnesota.
What the heck?
I have a feeling we're going to be coming. I know. Now I think we have to.
Well, you're hanging out with Kyle, aren't you, from Blacklight District, right? He's helping you out a little bit?
Good guy.
Yeah, well, he's going to be...
Very, very close friends.
He's coming here next week, the 13th. He's going to be in Minnesota playing right here in Little Falls, so I don't know.
Oh, you guys got to go catch that.
Huh?
You got to go catch that.
I know.
Those
Maybe you
guys
should...
are good guys.
We're gonna call. Yeah, we got them here. They're coming. They're coming via us and the West Side Bar here downtown Little Falls. So maybe Farewell to Fear makes a show up too, huh?
I think it's worth. That sounds like a challenge.
I don't know.
Sounds like yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
Tell you
well,
what,
I say bring your
put it out
gear.
there.
Bring your gear and let's let it rip. You know, why not?
You never know what might happen.
I'm actually born in Minneapolis, so I have to come up there anyway. I've got to see my aunt. She keeps calling me, so I definitely got to get up there. So let's make it happen.
The old ant colony every once in a while, huh?
Yes.
That's okay. That's okay. Well, you know what? If you can't make it up on the 13th, we understand, but hopefully we can see you sometime in the future. That'd be great.
We'd love to come up there and spend some time with you guys.
That would be awesome. Hey, we're going to play your latest song, Stand Up. I'm sure you're okay with that. Thanks so much, guys, for joining me once again.
Hey, thank you for having us. Appreciate you guys so much, and looking forward to seeing you in the near future.
Awesome.
Thanks, everyone.
Once again, that is Mike. That's Mojo. The band is Farewell to Fear. Their latest song is called Stand Up. You're hearing it right now. It's on The Dark. It's on FM 94.